I'd like to now sort of turn to the audience watching this, sort of all small businesses, lots of them startups, at the early stages. Could you talk through, all of you, the early business challenges that you faced and how you overcome them? And if we maybe go back to Mike, talk first about that.
Okay, so I think it's two areas, focus and simplicity, that I think learned from this. One is focus. As the business was growing, as I say, we had the IT services business, and then we started reselling AVG products. That worked great at the start, but as more and more calls were coming in, more and more people were sharing the same kind of resources and having to multitask. So that got to the point where it starts to break down. People are not effective at doing any of the jobs. We just spread out far too much. So, taking that and splitting out the AVG part was one area where the team then could just focus, and we actually took them out of the whole building, put them in their own building, and just focused them on AVG business, and allowed everybody else back in the original business to just stay focused on what they was, the IT service provider. And then I think something I learned really quickly was simplicity in how, when you're dealing with customers, what may sound great on a website isn't always easy. And I had an idea which was originally called Antivirus Center, and this was going to be working with a bunch of IT service providers across the UK, and we would make these clinics for dropping in virus-ridden PCs and fix them. It was going to be called antiviruscenter.co.uk. So I registered the domain, and I used that as my first domain name for selling software, and trying to say info at or sales at antiviruscenter.co.uk to a customer over the phone. Everybody had to stop and spell it. So it was like little things like that that you learn pretty quickly to adapt to the medium you're using and just keep things simple.
That's brilliant. Judith, with your various businesses, you've also had various challenges. Were the challenges similar, or were they very different for each business?
With all three businesses, the challenges were very different. In my first business, it was cash flow. We only had $25,000 between us when we started it. First year we did $3 million in revenue. Second year $35 million, and over $70 million the year after that. So financing that is tough. Banks wouldn't lend us money because we were women at the time, and because they thought software was lingerie. It was hard explaining to them that this little box was really worth $600 or $300. So what we ended up doing was, out of desperation, we were gutsy enough to charge all of our corporate customers, get it with payment terms of net 10, and our distributors, we got net 30, and then we worked it up to net 45 and net 60. So we financed our growth, luckily, exclusively on the backs of our distributors, whom I'm very grateful for. So that was, the second business. The challenge was hiring, frankly, because we were in a race. We had VC money in. It was first mover advantage. And so hiring the right kind of people who were internet savvy, great creators of content, was a challenge. And we were in Austin, Texas, so it was a good market, but it was a tough hiring market. And then the third business, the biggest challenge was, because the work that we did was so strategic, it was just getting to the right level in a company, and that was usually almost always a C level. So different challenges for different businesses.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Yuval, what about you? What were your business challenges and how did you deal with them?
Yeah, my business was all about technology, and it was based in Tel Aviv in Israel. However, we realized that our main market is actually in the US, on the East Coast. So the challenge was, how would you develop the software in one side of the world and sell it on the other side of the world? So pretty quickly we had to establish our office in New York, very close to the financial services over there, and have a team based in that region that constantly communicate with the development center and making sure that the products fits the customer needs. So early in the process, we had to operate on a or in two sides of the ocean. And for small businesses, it's very challenging and costly. That required the sales to be very efficient in order to support the growth of this business.
Brilliant.
May I say something else?
Of course.
Great. So I think the interesting thing among the three of us is that all the challenges are very different, but the solution and the roadmap was the same, which is all of us and all the successful entrepreneurs I know, when you reach a challenge, you figure out how to get around it. You know, you don't take no, you just keep going, you keep moving forward. There's a lot to be said for momentum. You know, you can't back down.
That's very true. I actually saw a presentation by some of the Innocent Drinks. I don't know if you know, they're a big smoothie brand in the UK. And he had an image of the entrepreneur's brain. So there was a head, and inside the head was the word yes, and surrounding it was loads of no's. Whatever and I tweeted it yesterday, and it had like 50 odd retweets. It basically said, when anyone says no, the entrepreneur hears yes.
Yes, that's it.